The 50-something tour is coming soon. Geddy, Alex, Anika will be traveling as Rush throughout all of the Americas. And one big question I've asked myself, maybe you have, and I know I've seen and I've read on social media, all of us asking one another is, what songs will they play? What will be the set list of the 50-something tour? This is a tour with no supporting album. So we have to look back and consider tours like R30, R40, the Time Machine Tour, where there wasn't a specific album per se. We're going to look at the set lists and look back through history of all the different Rush tours and all this different set lists. Thank you for joining me. I am Eric, and this is the Loudboy Experience. Let's go. A lot of my research for this video came from Wandering the Face of the Earth, the official touring history. And on the cover, 1968 through 2015. This book is the official touring history. It's by Skip Daly and Eric Hansen, a foreword by Les Claypool, an introduction by Howard, who toured with them for like 45 years, and an afterword by Stewart Copeland. And I want to thank all of you, including Rush and Insight, the publishers of this book. Thank you for such a great book. I've used many of your images for this video and a lot of your research. So the introduction to this touring book is written by Howard, who had been with them for like 45 years, and all those tours from like 74 all the way to R40. And one segment of his introduction I wanted to read to you because it's pretty cool. And Howard writes, "I don't think they will ever be forgotten, but we're all immortal for a limited time. I was there for 42 years of their career, from 74 in between drummers until the LA Forum at the end. I've been lucky to call them friends, live life on the road with them, and make memories that will last forever." I find this special because I find that this reflects what I've heard from you in the comments and the things that we've shared together in my videos right here on this channel. You've shared that Rush not only is important, Neil's lyrics are extremely important to us. Their music has affected us so deeply, but then seeing them live have given us these, quote, forever memories. The best count I could get is that Rush has done about 29 tours since 1974 and ending with R40. Of course, we have tours for each one of the albums, but in addition to that, there was a spring tour, a fall tour, a New World tour, a Deep South tour, and a spring training tour. It all began in 1974 with the Rush tour. And on this tour, we saw songs like Finding My Way, Best I Can, In the End, In the Mood, Here Again, and of course the iconic Working Man. And on this tour, that included a drum solo. And the sample that I have here is from August 26, 1974. And that was the day that they actually played in Cleveland, Ohio, at the Agora Ballroom, and this is the album for that, the actual vinyl for that. I point this one out, and I like this specific tour date because this is my birthday. The day I was born, Rush was on their first tour and played on August 26, 1974. That's the day I was born. Next up came the Fly By Night tour, which took place in around 1975. And of course, now we saw songs from Fly By Night and from Rush on this tour, like Beneath, Between, Behind, and Anthem by Torn a Snow Dog. Again, the drum solo this time goes with Working Man, just like it did before, In the Mood, and Need Some Love. After that, Caress of Steel. Again in 1975, these guys were very busy. Bastille Day, Anthem, Lakeside Park. Necromancer by Torn a Snow Dog, and Working Man, again with the drum solo. The 2112 tour. Of course, this is the big comeback. This is the huge album, and Rush was back in a very big way after Caress of Steel, of course. 2112, the overture. They did basically most of the album there. Fly By Night, In the Mood, by Torn a Snow Dog, Finding My Way, and again the drum solo with the Working Man. And as you can see, these lists kind of keep in mind the songs that you see repeated on these, the songs that were played early on and that are continue to be played over the years. And you kind of see a pattern here of what songs are kind of in the consciousness of the fans. Of course, Rush never had any huge breakaway hits, save for a couple different albums and Moving Pictures, where there was some mass popularity but really the popular songs are really determined by us. our feedback. What do we like? What do we respond to at concerts? All the World's a Stage, 1976. You can see some same songs here. Bastille Day, Anthem, Lakeside Park, 2112, all of it except for Oracle the Dream. We've got Twilight Zone, Something for Nothing. See a lot of songs from 2112 in here. This is adding the Necromancer. 2 parts from the Necromancer. And then Working Man, Finding My Way. And the drum solo here, after Finding My Way, was separate. And then they added an encore, Fly By Night and In the Mood. And A Farewell to Kings tour. Bastille Day, once again, Lakeside Park, By Tor and a Snow Dog. Okay, now we see Xanadu on here. Something for Nothing, Cygnus X1, Anthem, Closer to the Heart. 2112, everything except for Oracle the Dream. Working Man, Fly By Night, In the Mood. And again, just like before, drum solo after that with an encore of Cinderella Man. The Hemispheres Tour, or as some people call it, the Tour of the Hemispheres. This has an abridged anthem, has Passage to Bangkok, By Tor and a Snow Dog, has Xanadu, Cygnus X1, Hemispheres. So that's cool. Got both of those back-to-back, Close to the Heart, Circumstances, La Via Strangiato. Awesome. 2112, everything except for Oracle the Dream. And then an encore medley of Working Man, Bastille Day, In the Mood, and then the drum solo. There was a summer tour of 79. And as you can see, they did most of 2112. And you see, and then they add, here's the Spirit of Radio, at the Trees. It looks like most, if not all, of Hemispheres, Closer to the Heart, Free Will, Working Man. There's the drum solo again at the end of that list. And then finally an encore, La Via Strangiato. After that came the Permanent Waves tour. You can see everything except for, it looks like Oracle the Dream once again. So there's 2112. Let's see, the 6 part, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So that's 6 out of the 7 parts of 2112. Free Will, By Tor, Snow Dog, Xanadu. What a great set list. Spirit of Radio, Natural Science, Passage to Bangkok, The Trees, Cygnus X1, a lot of Hemispheres, Closer to the Heart, Jacob's Ladder, Working Man. I won't say them all. Finally, drum solos in there with an encore, a La Via Strangiato, with the electric guitar intro. A lot of you I've spoken to recently in the comments, you've mentioned that you were there with Permanent Waves. Not only did you buy the vinyl when it came out, but you went to the tour as well. And I told you, I was just too young. But I love that you guys shared this with me. Please tell me more. Tell me about your experiences. I look forward to seeing your comments. The fall of 1980. Okay, this would be between Permanent Waves and Moving Pictures. We have 2112, 2 parts of there, and Temples of Syrinx. Free Will, By Tor and Snow Dog. You see Xanadu's on there. Hemispheres, just the prelude. Spirit of Radio, Closer to the Heart. Beneath, Between, Behind. There you go. We got some Tom Sawyer on there. Passage to Bangkok. Natural Science. Working Man with the reggae intro. That's the first time we've seen that show up here. Drum solos on there with an encore. La Via Strangiato. Moving Pictures. 2 parts of 2112. Hemispheres. A lot of similarities here. Then here we go. This is the first time we've seen this. YYZ with the drum solo attached. I mean, this really what a perfect song to have your drum solo launch from and come back from the drum solo to finish YYZ. So cool. Brune's Bane, The Trees, Spirit of Radio, Red Barchetta, Close to the Heart, Tom Sawyer, Vital Signs. A lot of stuff, of course, off of Moving Pictures. Natural Science, Working Man, Hemispheres, the Armageddon section. By Tor, you can see it right there. The grand finale of 2112 with, once again, encore, La Via Strangiato. Exit Stage Left. I'm sure most of us here own this live album. This is the tour to support that. Here's the set list. 2112, 2 parts. Again, I'm already seeing some similarities here. Free Will, Limelight, Hemispheres, Beneath, Between, Behind. Here we go. Pre-release subdivisions. Okay, so this is before Signals came out. They played subdivisions on this tour. Camera Eye, YYZ with drum solo. Spirit of Radio, Red Barchetta. I mean, what a great set list. This is looking great. Working Man with a reggae intro as well. By Tor, In the End, In the Mood. And a little touch of 2112, again with an encore of La Via Strangiato. After that, they had a tour called The Deep South, 1982. Let me know if you saw this, by the way. And I'd love to hear it, because when I was looking through all these different tours, I'd never heard of the Deep South 82 tour. Well, here it is, guys. This is the set list. 2 parts from 2112. Free Will, Limelight. You can see right there. Subdivisions, the pre-release version once again. So they're kind of giving, put some training wheels on that, get it out there in front of the fans. How cool would it be to hear new material like that? The Trees, Analog Kid, pre-release. Again, man, hearing what Analog Kid when you've never heard it before and they're playing this, that would be amazing. Oh, to be there. Spirit of Radio, Red Barchetta, Closer to the Heart, Vital Signs, Working Man, some more. A lot of similarities against it. I've just read through a bunch of these in the previous tour. And again, to repeat myself, the encore, Olivia Strangiato. Next up, Signals, no longer pre-release. Here we go. This is the first time we've seen the Three Stooges theme. Okay, you guys probably know it. That play them in. So, okay, they're playing the Three Stooges theme song, and then they come out and they hit everyone with the Spirit of Radio. What a great way to start a concert. Tom Sawyer, Free Will, Digital Man, Subdivisions. Okay, so we're getting stuff off of Signals now. Vital Signs, The Camera Eye, a bridge version. Analog Kid, Brune's Bane, Trees, Red Barchetta, The Weapon, New World Man, Limelight, Countdown. All the Signal stuff is great. 2112, 2 parts. Xanadu, in La Via Strangiato, and finally the encore YYZ with the drum solo. That's a killer set list. That's really cool, man. To be old enough to go to that'd be great. See, around that time period, I was just like a young kid. I probably wasn't even 10 years old yet. They played Radio City Music Hall. This is a set list. Of course, this will probably mirror a lot of what we saw with the Signals tour. Three Stooges theme, once again, coming out to Spirit of Radio, Tom Sawyer, Digital Man, and then here we go, Kid Gloves, pre-release version. They did a Red Sector A pre-release, the Body Electric pre-release, The Weapon with a Count Floyd intro, Countdown, 2 parts of 2112, Xanadu, La Via Strangiato, and of course YYZ with the drum solo. Guys, if you were there that night, if you saw Rush around 1980, 1981 in Radio City Music Hall, let us know. I'd love to hear your story. Let us know in the comments. Grace Under Pressure. Of course, all that stuff we just saw with the previous tour, the pre-release, now it is part of the Grace Under Pressure album. Three Stooges theme once again launches us into Spirit of Radio. A fantastic thing to start. Subdivisions of Body Electric, Enemy Within, The Weapon. So check it out. There's 2 parts of Fear right there. Enemy Within and The Weapon. Followed by Witch Hunt. That's 3 parts. Dude, that's like the trilogy. Okay. I couldn't read every song when I was preparing for this, so I'm kind of taking it back right now. The Grace Under Pressure tour, they had the entire trilogy of Fear. And guys, stay tuned. I have prepped, I have done my research, I have all my notes, and my next video after this one will be me talking about the 4 parts of the Fear, okay, the Fear trilogy, with the 4th part being, Freeze and Vapor Trails. That's coming up soon. Stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching my shorts about Fear. I appreciate you guys. That's coming, but dude, that's awesome. After Image, okay? This is a little asterisk. We would love to see that on the 50-something tour. YYZ once again. And what we're seeing right here, start paying attention. Meaning to the now that the catalog is being built, okay? We're getting more and more songs with every album, more and more fan favorites. YYZ, we'll see Subdivisions. We're gonna see Spirit of Radio a lot. Red Barchetta, Tom Sawyer, of course, Closer to the Heart. All these songs that I just mentioned right there are songs that we expect to see now. Okay, we expect to see in this upcoming set list for a 50-something tour. They finish out the Grace Under Pressure tour with Red Lenses, Vital Signs, Finding My Way, and In the Mood. Spring Training 1985. I just imagine Geddy wanting to name a tour this because he loved baseball so much, right? Spring Training. That's what conjured up for me. Again, with the Three Stooges thing kicking off straight into Spirit of Radio, followed by Subdivisions, The Body Electric, Enemy Within, Weapon, Witch Hunt. Again, there they are. The parts of Fear played back to back. The Big Money, pre-release of Big Money. Love it, because we're expecting Power Windows coming out soon. New World Man, Between the Wheels. It got Red Sector A in there, Close to the Heart. And then I love this, pre-release of Middletown Dreams. I would love to see that song live. That's one of my favorite Rush songs, Middletown Dreams. With an encore of Red Lenses. Now the drum solo with Red Lenses is in the encore itself. Vital Signs, Finding My Way, and In the Mood. Here we are at the Power Windows Tour. Three Stooges scene, the Three Stooges theme, followed by Spirit of Radio, Limelight, Big Money, New World Man, Subdivisions, Manhattan Project, Middletown Dreams, Witch Hunt, Red Sector A, Close to the Heart, Marathon Trees, Mystic Rhythms, of course, Distant Early Warning, Territories, The Weapon, YYZ with drum solo. Okay, so it's back in the main section now, not in the encore. Tom Sawyer with an encore of 2 parts of 2112, Grand Designs, and In the Mood. Hold Your Fire Tour. Three Stooges, followed by The Big Money. I've said this for a long time. There are a handful of songs like Dreamline, Big Money, Spirit of Radio. There are some songs that are just great show openers. And I truly believe The Big Money is one of those. It's fast, it's energetic, it's just great. So again, Big Money starting off the Hold Your Fire Tour, followed by Subdivisions, Limelight, Marathon, Turn the Page, Prime Mover. Okay, so we're getting in, of course, the songs from the album of the tour, which is Hold Your Fire. Manhattan Project, Close to the Heart, Red Sector A. There's another one, Force 10. Love that song. Lock and Key, I love Lock and Key. Mission, Territories, YYZ. And now, for the first time, we see the rhythm method. And we all know this well. When I was in my earliest days of being a Rush fan, the earliest days, and basically I'm a Rush virgin, right? However, I knew them, I was starting to buy their albums, but I could not get enough of A Show of Hands. And of course, on A Show of Hands live album is the rhythm method. And of course, at that age, I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea that meant a little bit more outside the realms of percussion. But nevertheless, I couldn't get enough of it. I could not get enough of it. I would listen over and over and over and over again because I was a drummer / turning into a sax player, and I was still all about the drums, and I could not get enough of the rhythm method drum solo. Throughout the course of music history, right, people just joke about it. Like, a great time to go get a new beer or go to the bathroom is to what? During the drum solo. But that's not the case with us. We don't leave. In fact, a lot of us are sitting forward in our seats waiting for Neil to do a drum solo. We're anticipating it, and we listen to every note of it and every beat of it until it is done because we love every moment of it. That was the power of Neil Peart. That's the power of his drumming, and it remains so until this day. Here's the intro for the Presto Tour with the Show of Hands video, followed by, again, another great show opener, Force 10. A version of Free Will, Time Stands Still, Subdivisions, Marathon. Here we go, Superconductors. First time I've seen that on the list. The Pass, that's the first time I've seen that. I got YYZ in that. There's the rhythm method once again. Warpaint, of course, we're playing stuff from Presto now. Mission, Tom Sawyer with an encore of The Big Money, 2112 Overture, La Via, In the Mood, and finally, Wipeout. First time we've seen that show up. I became a Rush fan around 1987-88, somewhere in that time, okay? And because of that, the first tour that I got to see was Roll the Bones. Worcester, Mass, or if you're a normal person, Worcester, Mass. But in Worcester, Mass at the Coliseum, I saw Roll the Bones. And here's the set list. Intro, Show of Hands video, and this one's called the Skulls on Ice, followed by Force 10. Limelight, Free Will, Distant Early Warning, and here we go, Dreamline, Bravado, Roll the Bones, all great stuff. Ghost of a Chance, stuff from Roll the Bones. Where's My Thing, Rhythm Method solo once again. You got Superconductor, you got Xanadu, and finally, here's an encore, Spirit of Radio, 2112 Overture, La Via, Anthem, Reperchetta, Spirit of Radio, Reprise, and a Cygnus X1 teaser. Back then, it wasn't an evening with the Rush just yet. Eric Johnson was the opening act. I want to see Eric Johnson. I still want to see Eric Johnson play live. Just before they get to Worcester, Mass, it was someone else. It was some other band that I didn't really care about, of course. But I'm glad the days of opening acts for Rush are gone. Because it's like you have to sludge through garbage just to get to see Rush. Except for Eric, that's the point of my story, is that it would have been brilliant and amazing to have an evening of Eric Johnson and Rush together. Oh, that would have been Bucket List and then Rush. I mean, that would have been an amazing evening, but it wasn't the case. It was some other band I could care less about. I saw Counterparts in Texas. And for the Counterparts tour, they had a new intro, followed by Dreamline, Spirit of Radio. Here at Cold Fire with a country music intro. I would kill to see that. If anyone has a recording of that, I would love to see Cold Fire with a country music intro. That's fascinating. Time Stands Still, Nobody's Hero, Roll the Bones, Animate. Of course, from Counterparts, Stick It Out, Counterparts, with an introduction by Alex. Double Agent, Show Don't Tell, Leave That Thing Alone, Rhythm Method drum solo once again. A little bit of Hemispheres, some Tom Sawyer. And again, you're noticing already, aren't you? These songs that we keep seeing tour after tour after tour after tour. And to me, that's a good way to get a grasp on what will be in the 50-something tour. These songs that are perennial favorites by Rush, by us, and we can almost just expect them that they are locked in. And I think a lot of these that you're seeing repeated now, especially in these later years, as we have so many albums behind us, so much catalog built, we're going to see more and more of these songs, and we can expect to probably see them with the 50-something tour. They finished it out, this time instead of opening with Force 10 in the encore, YYZ, and a little tease of Cygnus X1. Got another intro followed by Dreamline. Again, one of my favorite ways to start a Rush concert is Dreamline. Followed by Limelight, Stick It Out, the big money with a wipeout ending. I'm pretty sure we were in the nosebleeds for Test for Echo. So nosebleed that I had to go and rent some binoculars out there in the lobby. My friend Joel, he's always been the guy that gets our tickets for me. In fact, both Counterparts and Test for Echo, I'd come back from Christmas break, and he'd have 2 tickets, and he'd just be holding them like, we're going. And of course, I'm ecstatic. And at that point, I'm not really thinking about where we're sitting. And I know he paid whatever was fair and whatever was probably less expensive. And therefore, we were way up there. And this tour was cool. Because Joel, myself, Joel's girlfriend / fiance, but also Will, our bass player. In college, we had a band called Goat Meal. That's oatmeal with a G, Goat Meal. And I was a singer, Joel played guitar, and Will played bass. Well, we were all there at Test for Echo. Of course, they did Animate, Trees, Nobody's Hero, Closer to the Heart, the complete 2112 with an intermission. Test for Echo, Roll the Bones, Resist, Rhythm Method drum solo, Natural Science, Force 10, Time in Motion. I love Time in Motion. Such a good song. The Spirit of Radio, Tom Sawyer with an encore of YYZ and Cygnus X1 teaser once again. All right, you guys noticing some patterns here? Some songs that you're seeing repeated? Of course, we had a 5-year break. And after that 5 years was over, Rush was back with a new album, Vapor Trails, and a tour to go with it. This is the Vapor Trails tour. Tom Sawyer with the Three Stooges intro, followed by Distant Early Warning, New World Man, Roll the Bones, Earthshine. Of course, now we're playing stuff off of Vapor Trails. YYZ, The Pass, Bravado, The Big Money, Between Sun and Moon / The Trees, Vital Signs / Free Will, Closer to the Heart, Natural Science, intermission, which means that we're into that evening with Rush now. One Little Victory with a Dragon intro, okay? Remember the Dragon, guys? Driven, Ceiling Unlimited / Ghost Rider, Secret Touch, love Secret Touch, such a good song. Dreamline, Leave That Thing Alone. Rhythm Method, so again, Leave That Thing Alone, instrumental, followed directly by the Rhythm Method drum solo. Here's an acoustic version, of course, letting Neil rest for a little bit. They come out and they do Resist, acoustic version. 2112, Limelight, La Via Strangiato, with a lurched rant. Love that. The Spirit of Radio, by Torna Snow Dog, Cygnus X1 prologue, and a great way to end any Rush concert is Working Man. R30. This time we have, so R30, like no proper album to support it. This is kind of a 30-year retrospective kind of thing. Starting with Jerry Stiller intro film. You guys probably remember that. The R30 Overture, Finding My Way, Anthem, Bastille Day, Passage to Bangkok, Cygnus X1 Prologue, and HEMISPHERES Prelude, followed by Spirit of Radio. Earthshine, you can see Roll the Bones, Bravado, YYZ, The Trees, The Seeker. Okay, so we got some stuff off of feedback now. Because instead of doing an album around their 30th anniversary, they did the album of covers. Of course, you guys know that's called Feedback, so that's The Seeker. One Little Victory with an intermission in a Dragon intro film. And then Tom Sawyer, Dreamline, Secret Touch, Between the Wheels. This time, the drum solo is called Der Trommler, which I believe is German. Resist, Heart Full of Soul, again from Feedback. 3 parts of 2112, followed by La Via Strangiato, By Tour, Xanadu, Working Man, encore of Summertime Blues, Crossroads, and Limelight. I always loved Rush's version of Crossroads. The Snakes and Arrows Tour. Saw this one at the Woodlawn Pavilion or something like that in Texas. Starts off with Limelight with a dream sequence intro. Digital Man, Entre Nous, Mission, Free Will, Main Monkey Business. We got Secret Touch, Circumstances, Between the Wheels, Dreamline, awesome. And then, of course, they did a bunch of video work for this and had intermission of the Plane of Dharma. And remember Alex walking around to all those little windows and doing some weird stuff in front of green screen? And Far Cry, Working Them Angels, Armor and Swords, Spindrift, Away the Wind Blows, Subdivisions, Natural Science. Man, great stuff. Followed by the drum solo. Hope. Alex's acoustic piece, of course, from Snakes and Arrows, giving Neil a few minutes to rest. Summertime Blues, Spirit of Radio, Tom Sawyer with the South Park intro. First time we've seen that. Encore, One Little Victory, Passage to Bangkok, and YYZ. They also did a tour just for Snakes and Arrows Live. And if you're like me, you own Snakes and Arrows Live. Setlist for Snakes and Arrows Live. Limelight, Digital Man, Ghost of a Chance. Mission, Free Will, Main Monkey Business, The Larger Bowl. Reparchetta, The Trees, Between the Wheels, and Dreamline. Intermission, followed by Far Cry. Guys, we've been talking a lot lately how much we like Far Cry. Thank you for watching my video about that. There's a lot more vinyl videos coming, by the way. Armor and Sword. I love Armor and Sword. Spindrift, Way the Wind Blows. Subdivision, Natural Science. Witch Hunt, Malignant Narcissism, followed by the drum solo. Hope. Okay, once again, you can see the pattern there. 2112 twice, 2 parts of that. Tom Sawyer with the South Park intro, and then encore of One Little Victory, Passage to Bangkok, and YYZ. Another great way to end any Rush concert is YYZ. Time Machine Tour. Not a proper album to support it. Again, more of a retrospective, a trip through time, a trip through Rush history. And this one begins with the real history of Rush. You guys might recall that they had a different version of Tom Sawyer. They also had the guys at the sausage shop. Remember the sausage house? And Geddy's like making sausage with a big handlebar mustache. And there's Alex in his fat suit. Remember that, guys? So yeah, that's all that video work. Really professionally done stuff that they did for this tour. Followed by Spirit of Radio, Time Stands Still, Presto, Stick It Out. Working Them Angels, they got BU to Be, which it would be a preview, by the way. We all know that about, I don't know, a year or so before Clockwork Angels came out, they came out with Caravan and brought up To Believe. Subdivisions, Real History of Rush Part 2 and Act 2 or Set 2. They do all of Moving Pictures, followed by Caravan. Okay, that preview of what would be, which is Clockwork Angels coming soon. And then Neil's multi-part solos, and I believe this is one of the first times we see him incorporating the whole big band jazz stuff. Okay, we know how much he loved Buddy Rich, how close Neil was to Buddy Rich's family, that he made 2 tribute albums to Buddy Rich. Well, that whole love of that genre of music that I love as well. I love jazz music. He started incorporating that into his solos in different sections and parts and themes throughout his solos. O'Malley's Break, Closer to the Heart, a little bit of 2112, Far Cry, and then an encore of La Via Strangiato, Working Man, I Still Love You Man, outro video, and then followed by Closer to the Heart. Clockwork Angels Tour. One of my biggest regrets in life musically is that I did not get to see Clockwork Angels Tour. To have seen the string ensemble and to have seen, I love my Blu-ray. This is why I've watched my Clockwork Angels Live Blu-ray a lot, because I didn't get to see the tour. And I'm very thankful to Rush for making so many great live Blu-rays, DVDs, and before that VHS through the years, because they have done a really masterful job of capturing live performances and keeping up with technology along the way. CLOCKWORK Angels Tour. We got a gearing up intro video followed by Subdivisions. So that's interesting. Starting with Subdivisions. The Big Money, Force 10 Grand Designs. We haven't seen that one come out of the woodwork in a while. Body Electric, Middletown Dream, and Limelight. Territory, Analog Kid, Bravado / The Pass. Here it is, followed by a drum solo. Far Cry. And then we go into a whole bunch, if not most, if not all, of CLOCKWORK Angels playing along with the string ensemble with them. Of course, ending with the iconic Garden. Followed by Manhattan Project, Dreamline Percussor, another drum solo, Red Sector A, and YYZ. Now, of course, in set 2, after the intermission, they play most, if not all, of CLOCKWORK Angels with a string ensemble. Those songs following CLOCKWORK Angels, Manhattan Project, Dreamline, Red Sector A, and YYZ, were also with the string ensemble, which is really cool to hear arrangements with, a 7 or 8 piece string ensemble behind them. That was just really cool stuff. Encore. Tom Sawyer, 3 parts of 2112, and then The Office of the Watchmaker. Basically a mini movie, okay, that they made, and it's a pretty cool little mini movie they made. The last tour I got to see, the last tour any of us have gotten to see before the upcoming 50-something tour is, of course, R40. I saw R40 in Boston. And this starts with The World Is intro. And that's, the 3 kind of animated guys walking across the globe. You can see their hairstyles and their clothes and their appearances change through all the decades and time. It's a great little animation. They did a great job of that. They open with The Anarchist, followed by CLOCKWORK Angels, Slash Records, and Headlong Flight. And I believe that depending on any given night, they'll either do CLOCKWORK Angels or The Records. Headlong Flight, and then a drum solo. I mean, man, that drum solo is pushed way up to the front of the show there. Far Cry, Main Monkey Business, One Little Victory, or How It Is, Animate Rollerbones, Distant Early Warning, or Between the Wheels. I choose Between the Wheels. Losing It, After the Intermission, which is No Country for Old Hens video. Good stuff. Tom Sawyer, Red Porchetta, Camera Eye, or YYZ, depending on the night. Spirit of Radio, Natural Science, Jacob's Ladder, that's come out. Cygnus X1, 3 parts of that. Close to the Heart, Xanadu, 4 parts of 2112. And here's the encore, followed by the Mel's Rockpile video. Lakeside Park, Anthem, What You're Doing, Working Man, Garden Road, and Exit Stage Left. Most of you may recall that R40, they worked backwards through time, where we start with the most modern music, CLOCKWORK Angels, and we work our way all the way back to 1974, to the first Rush album, Rush. And as they did that, they changed in real time as the boys were playing the sets and all in the different amps and the different atmospherics, and from going from steampunk stuff into giant stacks of amps for another era. They changed eras in real time and finally by the end, there is a screen or some kind of projector, whatever, of like a high school gym behind them. And it's Rush in their earliest days playing a gym or a church basement, that kind of thing. And it takes you through time. Anyway, it's a really cool thing. R40 was magical. I'll have these memories. I know you guys will have your memories of that event, of seeing Neil for the last time. That's very special to us. And, we're just very lucky and very blessed to have had that. With the 50-something tour, that's going to be 30 total tours. And you've seen all the set lists, so I'm asking you, what would you like to see in the 50-something tour? Throughout the years, what have been some of your favorite songs for Rush to play? Are there some pieces of Rush music? Are there some Rush songs that you think, well, they shouldn't play it? That was Neil's. And maybe that kind of quote belongs to Neil and it wouldn't be appropriate now. Is there anything like that? Are there some songs that we need to play them? Because in this way we can honor Neil. What are some songs that you think Rush will choose? There's a lot of questions here about what the set list will be. And I really hope that us going through the complete history of Rush tours has given you a little bit of perspective. Okay, a lot of perspective on the songs that we've seen repeat over and over and over through the years. And I look at it like this. We start with one album, okay? And then we do Fly By Night and Caress of Steel and 2112. And we're working our way up all the way to Clockwork Angels, okay? 20 albums, but really 19, not including Feedback. All these different albums, at least a couple hundred songs. And with each tour, the set list started to grow and eventually became just an evening with Rush, meaning it's just Rush, no opening act. And at that point, Rush can expand the song list and the set list to fill 2 to 3 hours. As the catalog grew, we saw some songs stick and some songs that just aren't played anymore. So I'm wondering if Rush is going to dig really deep. And it sounds like they are. In that I heard that these are going to be rotating songs. They said this in their announcement video. Alex spoke about how songs will be rotating and changing every night, which is really interesting. Because Anika, as she's learning songs, imagine if it's a set list of, say, 20-something songs. All right, I'm just spitballing here. Say it's 26 songs. But then again, if you say, okay, yeah, but we're going to swap out 10 of those, that's adding 10 more songs. So every time you want to swap out or entirely change the set list, you could be up to doubling the number of songs that she needs to memorize and master. Anika Nilles has a tall order ahead of her. I do not envy her, and the amount of practice she's putting in must be just mind-boggling. But I wish her the best. For all of you who have shared the fact that you're going to see the 50-something tour, I say, hey, congrats. I'm super happy for you. Those of you who have shared with me, for lack of a better word, your anger and your frustration with the ticket prices, I hear you too. You know, from hour to hour, I go back and forth. This is a complex situation. There are many different variables and feelings and opinions and emotions and involved in all of this. I can be happy for everyone going, and yet a little disappointed that I am not. And I hear all of you who are angry, and I understand your general, how angry you are at the industry and the fact that ticket prices are exorbitant and that there seems to be an issue here. I understand that just as fully as I can sympathize and be elated by the people who are going. I hear all of you. Because from hour to hour, I feel that too. The fact that we are getting an emotion, whether we are thrilled and excited to go see them, or we're disappointed and we're cast down and we're angry that we're not seeing them. That's emotion. That means we care. You know, I've heard it said that a marriage for people who fight and bicker and go at, but they can make up and there's still love there, that's still healthy. That's still a marriage. And yet, when apathy sets in, when you just don't care anymore, that's when a marriage could very well be in danger. Because there's no emotion at all anymore. I feel that with Rush right now, our intense emotions mean that we still care a whole lot. And that means something. So I want to know what you feel right now. And I want to know what songs you should think should be on the 50-something tour set list. Let me know in the comments below. I am Eric. This is the Loudboy Experience. Thank you guys once again for being here. And I'll see you next time.